Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of PEGNet and the Kiel Institute for the World Economy, I would like to welcome you to this year's PEGNet conference on poor countries, poor people, and the new global players. A major issue facing poor countries is the growing influence of the new global players, particularly China, Brazil, and India, on their economies as well as on the international debate. Especially for Africa, making the most of the accelerating trade, investment, and diplomatic engagement of the new global players is a key priority. Yet, while there are benefits through more trade, investment, and development finance, there are also risks such as continued dependence on primary commodity exports, increased competition with local industries, and the potential deterioration of labor, governance, and environmental conditions. The new global players effectively offer a new pattern of South-South cooperation, which is characterized by official financial flows closely linked to commercial activities. It will be crucial to assess carefully whether these new aid, trade, and investment flows truly act as catalysts for sustainable development for Africa. By contrast, the EU and its member states, which are still Africa's leading economic partners and donors, view their cooperation differently. Indeed, the current debate over aid to Africa takes place in the context of a major paradigm shift that increasingly questions whether the modalities of traditional aid should serve as a primary tool for poverty reduction and promoting development. It is now seen as vital to emphasize locally owned and locally led development strategies with development partners that adopt a holistic approach to their engagement. This means focusing on development effectiveness rather than aid effectiveness. Development effectiveness takes into account not only ODA, but all international financial flows, investment, trade, remittances. It considers the implementation of other relevant policies, such as support for peace and security, governance. And it goes beyond the focus of the government's role by integrating the private sector and civil society into the national and regional development agenda. This ongoing shift in the international development paradigm exposes developing countries to competing templates for development and challenges the prevailing Paris and Accra agendas. Now, research can play an important role in all this, and it can provide guidance to policymakers if it is focused on issues considered relevant by policymakers and donors, and if it is carefully communicated. This is why our research network, PEGNet, has been established jointly by researchers and practitioners seeking to support research activities on poverty reduction, equity, and growth for the mutual benefit of its members and society as a whole. By bringing together practitioners and researchers, PEGNet provides a forum for practitioners to influence the research agenda of member research institutes. At the same time, it helps researchers to identify the sort of evidence that will persuade policymakers to consider or adapt new ideas. By bringing together researchers from developing and developed countries, PEGNet seeks to tailor research to the specific needs of developing countries, to strengthen local research capacities, and to raise the influence on local policymakers. Finally, PEGNet reflects the general philosophy of the Kiel Institute to integrate two aspects of research activities that are often separate: research location and research network. Accordingly, PEGNet brings its members physically together, for example, at workshops and conferences like this one, and it provides a virtual infrastructure that facilitates efficient cooperation and communication between our physical meetings. Now, before I hand over, let me add one logistical note. Dissemination of research findings and solutions to socially relevant problems is a core objective of PEGNet, and we are convinced that all of you have to say something substantial on the conference theme. We therefore hired a film team to record all plenary sessions and will put the video on PEGNet's website. However, if you don't want your statements to be recorded or published on the internet, please tell the film team and the organizers. Having said this, I'm now pleased and honored to welcome State Secretary Hans-Jürgen Beerfeld, who will officially open this year's PEGNet conference in the name of the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. Thanks.